You're about to say something and suddenly your mind goes blank. Not distracted, not tired, just gone. You pause, you try to bring it back, but the more you think about it, the further it slips away. And then, a few minutes later, it randomly comes back when you're not even trying. Does this also happen with you? This doesn't happen randomly. There's a very specific reason your brain does this, and once you understand it, you'll start noticing it every day. Think about the last time this happened. Maybe you were talking to someone mid-sentence and suddenly you lost your train of thought. Or you walked into a room with a purpose and the moment you entered, you forgot why you came there. You stand there for a second, trying to remember, but nothing comes. Then you walk back or stop thinking about it, and suddenly, it comes back. Now be honest. Does this happen to you often, or only sometimes? Tell me your experience in the comments. Most people assume this is just bad memory, but it's not. Your brain didn't lose the information. It just temporarily lost access to it. Your brain works on something called working memory. This is the system that holds information for a short period while you're actively using it. But here's the catch. Working memory is limited. It can only handle a small amount of information at once. So, when you're thinking, talking, processing, and reacting at the same time, your brain is juggling multiple things at once. And when that load becomes too much, something gets dropped. That something is often the exact thought you were about to say. Now here's where it gets interesting. The moment you try harder to remember, you actually make it worse. Because now you're adding more pressure, more effort, more mental noise. And your brain doesn't retrieve information well under pressure. It retrieves information when it's relaxed. This is why the thought comes back later. Not because you suddenly became smarter, but because you stopped forcing it. If you want to know more about yourself, hit like and subscribe for more psychology insights. Now, let's go deeper into something most people overlook. This doesn't happen equally to everyone. Some people experience it more often than others. And one of the biggest reasons is how fast your mind moves. If your brain is constantly jumping from one idea to another, processing multiple things at once, your working memory gets overloaded faster. This is why people who think quickly or overthink often forget what they were about to say. Their brain is not empty. It's actually too full. Now think about conversations. When you're talking, you're not just speaking. You're also thinking about what to say next, how the other person is reacting, what they just said, and how to respond. That's a lot happening at once. So if even one small distraction happens, a sound, a thought, a shift in attention, your brain can lose track of the original idea. And once that chain breaks, retrieval becomes difficult. Now, let's talk about another common situation. You walk into a room and forget why you came and start doing something randomly in the room. This is not random either. Your brain links memory to context. When you are in one place, your brain is connected to a certain set of thoughts. The moment you change location, your brain updates context. And sometimes that update disconnects you from the previous thought. That's why going back to the same place often helps you remember, because you reconnect to the original context. Now here's something that might surprise you. Forgetting what you were about to say is not always a weakness. In many cases, it's a side effect of an active mind, a brain that is constantly processing, analyzing, and moving forward. But there is a downside. When your brain is always moving fast, it doesn't always hold on to things long enough to express them. So ideas appear and disappear quickly. Now let's talk about control. Most people try to fight this. They force themselves to remember. They pause, they push harder, they get frustrated. But that approach doesn't work, because memory retrieval is not about force. It's about access. And access improves when your mind is calm, not when it's under pressure. That's why the best way to remember something is often to stop trying. Let your brain relax, shift your attention, and give it a moment. In many cases, the thought will come back on its own. Now here's the deeper pattern. People who experience this often tend to have a similar thinking style. They move quickly from one idea to another. They don't stay on one thought for too long. They process more than they express. And because of that, some thoughts never fully come out. They get replaced before they are completed. This creates a cycle where the brain keeps generating ideas, but doesn't always finish them. And that's why forgetting mid-sentence feels so familiar. Now here's the final insight. This behavior is not random. It's a pattern of how your brain handles attention, pressure, and speed. And once you understand that, you stop getting frustrated by it. Because you realize it's not that your mind is weak, it's that your mind is overloaded.